¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. How's it going, Buff Dragon? Cosmic Seeking Alia, welcome everybody. We've got plenty of stuff today. Hey there, howdy, howdy. I must warn you, Russell Brand said some dumb shit. So, here we are. Oh god, yep. Shocked, I know. I know, it's a shocker. Joe got a big W today. I'm assuming that you're talking about the railroad thing. We'll talk about it in just a second. How's it going, Wolf Glenn? Carpet Packs, how's it going? The railroad is not a done deal yet. That's true. Yeah, but this one is particularly egregious. I'm still a little bit mad at myself for not identifying him early on as someone that was going to go from sort of mostly based on just absolutely hog wild. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we are, though. You got the two coaches of Asylum Seekers too. I believe you said, or is that referencing like Ron DeSantis trying to like move planes of migrants to Martha's Vineyard or some stuff like that? Yeah, he's just a horrible human being, so no surprise there. Like back in the day when his focus was on helping homeless people and addiction treatment, he was on the right track. Yeah. Oh, we've got too many names to keep track of, Halio. Mr. Pillow, Mr. Pillow lost his phone. Something like that. I wonder if at all Venezuela will get pissed at this. That he gets very few Hispanic votes. Wait, who? Ron DeSantis? Echo Wrestle Dragon. Oh yeah, he claimed that, but the migrants said that they came from Texas. Right. It was supposed to be so from what I understand, if I have my story correct, those migrants were essentially going somewhere else, I think. They just happened to stop in Florida, I think. I'm not quite sure 100%. Not sure 100%. Pillow Brains was on a tirade over 2 hours ago about Lindell's phone. Oh yeah, nice. Well, if you don't want to get a search warrant served to you, maybe don't do sketchy stuff. Maybe don't do things that will get you under investigation by the FBI. I'm just saying. Alio with the 10 biddies, A-Bond with the 31 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Kicking things off hot. But Florida has no foreign border. Correct. They weren't like, they didn't make it to Florida directly. I think that they were already en route to some other place. But the plane landed there. The story's a little the exact details escape me is what I'm trying to say. Folks, really quick shoutouts. Please take a moment to go to twitch.tv/carpetpacks. Go give them a follow. Go to twitch.tv/AlioShare. Alright, let's get this started. We got a few things to go over, and I'm not sure how much we're gonna be able to do it in the amount of time. I always like that kitty cat emote. Alright, let's get into it, yeah? Ah, okay. I see. The plane to Washington and Martha's Vineyard were private charters. Gotcha. The big one. The big eyes. The kitty on the BTTV one. There we go. I like that one. Kicking things off, Lauren Boebert clearly practicing for her evangelical pastor gig that she's going to have to take should she lose her election. Preaching about the end times. Let's take a look.
As you see the end draw near, we know that we are in
Jesus
the last
Christ.
of the last days. But it's not a time to complain about it. It's not a time to get upset about it. This is a time to know that you were called to be a part of these last days.
What? Jesus. All right. Your notification arrived. Well, this time it arrived 17 minutes into the stream. Yeah, not a cult. Not a cult, by the way. Lindell reading the warrant out loud, naming names and messing up the FBI investigation. Yikes. That's a huge no-no, right? You're not really supposed to do that. Certainly that's gonna... Yeah, man, just dig in his own grave, I guess. Hey, never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. Let him keep going.
You get to have a role in ushering in the second coming of Jesus.
Of Jesus Christ.
How cool is that?
How awesome is that?
As you see,
I mean, I don't know, like, the thing that it should disturb people is the amount of people that are listening to her and the claps that she's getting. Announced that he's suing the FBI for confiscating his phone, like the... Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I think Trump or Trump and company could be a part of the Antichrist. Yeah, if anyone's going to be part of the Antichrist, it would be someone like him, right? To the extent that that's even a thing. But, yeah... I think it's very clear that should she lose her election or should she lose her position in office, this is probably what she's going to end up resorting to do. Yeah, Jesus Christ. I heard that Trump was stopped from shipping migrants north as it broke the law. I don't know, because I don't know. Unfortunately, like, when it comes to, like, the immigration stuff, a lot of the policies are mostly the same. So, he said today that he had a 20-minute conversation with the FBI before they told him they were seizing his cell phone. He claims that he told them he'd rather be arrested than give up his phone. Then he called his attorney, who said to give them the phone. I'm not surprised. It is the only way I can see how many Christians follow Trump, just not here in America. I mean, maybe to the extent that that's even like a thing, right? Anyways, I thought that was a good meme. All right. Speaking of Trump, here we have more stochastic terrorism. Former President Trump said on Thursday that the nation would face problems, the likes perhaps we've never seen, if he's indicted over his handling of classified documents. So if he gets indicted, meaning there is sufficient evidence presented to a grand jury that you did something, people are going to get violent. That's an implicit threat, my chat. That's an implicit threat, my dude. If he's indicted over handling of classified documents after leaving office, an apparent suggestion that such a move by the Justice Department could spark violence from Trump supporters. Remember, folks, every accusation is just a confession. It was always the radical left who was violent. The Antifa. Antifa. You ever heard of them? Antifa. Okay. I said, I thought Trump was an antichrist to someone that was a Trump follower, and he got so mad he nearly lost it. That's hilarious. I hope all the lawyers drop him for that reason, Alio. Did anything come out of the Trump sold nuclear secrets to Saudi Arabia in return for $2 billion loan from to Kushner? I have no idea. I don't know. I'm only going based off like information that gets released from like as we find out. So I don't know. As more and more information gets released, we'll keep, reporting on it. Needs to be indicted immediately. The longer they draw this out, the more time for planning these crazy assholes have. That's true. The former president said an indictment wouldn't stop him from running for the White House again, and repeatedly said Americans would not stand for his prosecution. That's actually not entirely true. There was a poll that was released that most people are completely fine with Donald Trump being investigated, right? The only thing that he's doing here is threatening he's implicitly saying that there will be violence if he's indicted. And of course, it would come from his supporters, right? The right wing, the far right. Trump was photoed loading 3 boxes unexplained to the golf club. Well, I'm sure that's all going to come up. He's grifting again? Not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the case at Wrestle Dragon. I wouldn't be surprised. If a thing like that happened, I would have no prohibition against running. And I think if it happened, you'd have problems in this country, the likes which perhaps we've never seen before. I don't think the people of the United States would stand for it. He would ask, so he did a little thing from a podcast host. Got it. He would ask what Trump meant by, quote, problems. I think they'd have big problems. This is like mob boss talk. This is the kind of stuff that like mob bosses say, right? They don't outwardly say like stuff is going to happen. They just say like, you're going to have a big problem, you know? He's threatened worse when he was on Twitter. That's true. I think they'd have big problems. Big problems. I don't think they'd stand for it. He didn't answer the question. What do you mean by problems? They will not stand still and stand for this ultimate of hoaxes. Yeah, this is an implicit, this is an implicit threat. I can confirm I'm a mob boss. Thank you. Appreciate that. There's actually a footage of Trump shipping boxes with documents to that one. Okay, so that's what that's in reference to. Again, I'm not surprised. It's not the first time Republicans have hinted at potential civil unrest by them. Remember, folks, this is totally one-sided. This is them. This is 100% Republicans, 100% the right wing on this one. Hinted at potential civil unrest if the DOJ indicts Trump. But then what are you supposed to do? What's the alternative, right? What's the alternative? We can't indict someone because there's threat of violence? In other words, law and order, except for, for me. Yeah, that's abuser rhetoric. Exactly. So listen, listen. You're making me angry. Okay? Listen to me. You're making me angry. Okay? And there's going to be big problems if you make me angry. And you know what's the worst part? It's going to be your fault. It's going to be your fault when the violence starts. Listen, it's going to be your fault. What? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Carpet Packs. Yeah, you don't want to make them mad. Because look what they'll make you. Yeah, look what you made me do. Right, exactly. I think we both said same things, just in a different in a different way. Exactly correct. Exactly correct. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham made headlines last month when he said that there would be riots in the street if there's a prosecution of Donald Trump for mishandling classifying. Man, holy yikes. Really, dude, honestly, F these people. If the evidence continues to point in that direction, F them. It don't matter. It would be a shame if your shop in Minecraft burned down. Correct. Family member of mine straight up said, well, we could end up like the Philippines. Jesus. Graham's comments were slammed as irresponsible and shameful. Nope, just the Republican standard. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, without naming the South Carolina senator, said these comments from extreme Republicans were dangerous. But there is no difference. There's no difference between the Republicans are all like this. They're the exact same. The Republican Party is literally just this. Hewitt appeared to see Trump's comment as a nod toward potential unrest, asking the former president how he would respond when legacy media accuses him of inciting violence. So he understands, right? Like, this isn't hard. It's not like he's couching it any further. He's literally just saying there'll be big problems. There's a huge implicit threat there. That's not inciting. I'm just saying what my opinion is. Nice meme, dude. Nice meme. I don't think the people of this country would stand for it. Well, what would they do then, my friend? My dude, my brother in Christ. What do you think the message is when you're saying things like, save America, you have to take your country back, they're destroying your country, insert fascist tenant of like the existential threat to the nation here, and then start talking about like problems, big problems. Yeah. Okay, dude. Tell me what people are going to take from that. I mean, we went over a video yesterday as to exactly the type of messaging they would they receive. Right, they're going to surprise Pikachu face later. Despite what Trump threatened today, there will not be a civil war if he's charged. There may be pockets of violence by MAGA, but those people will be arrested and prosecuted. That is how the rule of law works. Well, you would think so, but, you know. The point is, whether or not civil war happens, which, again, I really try to steer away from that rhetoric, and I criticize people who continue to push that rhetoric, like Tim Pool. The point being is, yeah, there will be pockets of violence. I think that is a possibility, because these people are violent. They're domestic terrorists. I think it's possible that you'll see like little pockets of violence, but that's still like, that's not okay, and that's incredibly dangerous. On Capitol Hill, senior FBI and DHS officials briefed members of the Senate, Judiciary, and Homeland Security committees on the uptick in threats against federal law enforcement in the aftermath of the Mar-a-Lago search. Senators said briefers didn't specifically pinpoint a politician or political party when it comes to the threats, but they said that the trend was clear. Bro, how hard is it, dude? It's the fucking right wing. It's the right wing. It was stunning the number of threats that have been cataloged since August 8th in the search of Mar-a-Lago. Why is it stunning? What did you think these people would do? When calls to action like, you know, there will be problems, fight like hell, save your country. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Of course. Yeah, and exactly. And who's going to be starting the violence? Correct. At whose rhetoric has led us down this path? Where how the F is stunning. This is made by you know, Democratic Senator Dick Durbin, of course. I don't know how this could possibly be happening. Yeah, okay, dude. Asleep at the wheel, dude. Asleep at the wheel. After the briefing specifically mentioning the gunman who tried to enter an FBI building in Cincinnati, Ohio in the days following the search. It's a much more dangerous environment because of the political statements made by some individuals since August 8th. No, not some individuals. Come on. It's not some individuals. This is so frustrating. I swear to God. It's the Republican Party. Durbin said the threats range from explicit to specific to more generalized ones mostly noted on social media. He also called out Trump for his rhetoric. Inviting a mob to return to the streets is exactly what happened on January 6th. This president knew what he was doing and he saw the results. His careless, inflammatory rhetoric has its consequences. So he's doing it again. Why don't you call it out? Why don't you call the Republican Party out? Like the famous highwayman, watch your blood pressure. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm more concerned more than anything, and I'm pretty frustrated at like the lack of willingness to put the screws on these people. Senator Rick Voldemort Scott of Florida, a Trump ally and member of the Homeland Security Committee, said after the briefing that the Justice Department needed to be more transparent about the justification for the search in order to, push back against, quote, conspiracies. What are you talking about, my dude? That wouldn't excuse the type of rhetoric your party is engaging in. This is exactly going back to like what the comment Carpet Packs was saying. You have to give good information. You have to give people good information so that these rumors don't continue. Again, it'll be your fault. You know what? I don't know why they raided the former president's house. Well, it's stated very clearly why. Because they had evidence. They had evidence to they had sufficient evidence to obtain a search warrant for certain documents that they were looking for because of an investigation that was started when the National Archives gave that to the Department of Justice. And after months of going back and forth, the documents were still missing, so somebody's not telling the truth. Somebody was trying to be untruthful, but I'm missing a word here. Someone was trying to hide something is what I'm saying, and that gave sufficient evidence to sign off on a search warrant, and that's what happened. Okay. Evasive, sure. I'll use that one too. Like evasive. Fine. That's a fair one. I love how clowns think that they can come in here and there be like no type of like moderation systems in place. They're literally saying that upholding the law that they swore an oath to uphold will anger the lawless fans of the lawless president. Right, so you shouldn't uphold the law because then they will be your fault. Exactly. Oh my god, this is so freaking like this is total classic abusive behavior. Totally. Yeah, this person was trying to say like some massively inappropriate messages that were blocked. Anyways, the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida sparked a political firestorm. I don't understand why they put it in this like phrasing, right? A political firestorm, like as if like. So then what? We're not supposed to just like prosecute. We're not supposed to investigate certain people, even if like the evidence points that that they've been engaging in some, illegal activity. To which then I point to Carp's previous comment. Can you imagine, like, if there was this sentiment during, Jesus, what is it? Not Whitewater. Watergate. Can you imagine if this was a sentiment in Watergate? According to a Justice Department court filing released in August, prosecutors obtained a search warrant for the estate after receiving evidence there was likely an effort to conceal. This is exactly what I was saying. So, like, the fact that we have this dude who's surprised Pikachu face trying to be like, well, I don't know what's going on here. There needs to be more transparency, to push back against conspiracies. I don't know why they raided the former president's house. Yeah, okay, dude. Likely an effort to conceal classified documents at the residence in defiance of a grand jury subpoena. Agents recovered highly classified records mixed with among personal items in addition to dozens of empty folders with classified markings. The DOJ and Trump's lawyers are now in the midst of legal deliberations on an outside review of the seized documents. Graham, one of Trump's staunchest Capitol Hill allies, echoed concern that the Justice Department may have overstepped in its dealings with the former president. How? But he left the open possibility that the department's probe could uncover material that might justify an indictment. Right, that's the whole point of an investigation, my dude. That's what's happening right now. It was the sentiment when they proved Al Gore got robbed of the presidency. Sheesh. If they didn't have the tapes, Nixon would have never left office. That's a good point. And there's still an open investigation directed by Trump into the origins of the Russia investigation that are still going on after like 5 years. Oh yeah, I saw that. I remember like Sam Cedar made a small like comment. He didn't know when to quit. He was just presented with such overwhelming evidence that he didn't really hide anywhere. He didn't really have anywhere to hide. It's not that he didn't know when to quit. It's that he got caught. Former presidents and their properties need to be treated like gods and like the gods and cathedrals they are, and should be immune from all law, scrutiny, and consequences for the rest of time. True. Stuff like that, it always comes down to support. If enough people don't want Trump to go to jail, they will bend their brains and pretzels to justify his BS. Yeah. There's a belief of many on the right that the DOJ and FBI have been less than unbiased when it comes to Trump. But having said that, nobody's above the law, including the president. But the law's going to be about politics. What are you talking about? Laws inherently are political, because how do you pass laws, my dude? Yes, a law is inherently political. So let's wait and see what they find. I've got an open mind about what they find, but they need to have something that would justify what I think is a political escalation. Whatever. What an absolute clown. Speaking with you on Thursday, Trump continued to use the defense that he declassified everything. Yeah, even though there's A, no evidence of that, and B, it's irrelevant to the case that's being investigated. One of the big claims is also obstruction. Oh, here's a fun one. How do you get an impartial jury for Trump? True. Sentinel Island. I don't know which is more damaging. Because Nixon actually implemented a lot of damaging policies that still reverberate till today, right? Like Nixon, Reagan, ultimately, their policies have reverberated for decades now at this point and have led us to the point where we are. So, I don't know, like, while Trump clearly is like a culmination, pretty much, partially like part of what created Trump too, is that as well. Not just like the failures of like decades of failures to address any meaningful problems that kind of just led up to it. Not just the disappointing like Obama era where we were supposed to, we were promised hope and change but got none of it. But also the legacy of Reagan and Nixon kind of play a part too. Rhetoric that could easily be seen as alluding to violence is not out of character for Trump. True. His speech on January 6th to his supporters before the insurrectionists stormed the Capitol in an effort to block the certification of President Joe Biden's electoral college victory, the then president told the crowd to fight much harder against bad people and to show strength. Yeah, and like this is par for the course, even when he was starting to campaign from 2015 or 2016, whatever. This was always par for the course, right? Beat them up. He said some comment about like leaving them on a stretcher or something like that. So yeah, this is par for the course. His comments that day have been a focal point of January 6th committee's investigation into the president and his inner circle, with investigators using one of their summer hearings to make the case that Trump's effort to hold on to power resonated with extremist groups and brought them to the Capitol. Yeah, but this is the Republican Party. It's not like the implication being like that's some kind of like extremist fringe element of the Republican Party. No, it is the Republican Party. It is the Republican Party. That's right. They're the ones in charge, and everyone else is enabling them or making zero pushback whatsoever, right? Just going back to one of your comments, Elio, Fannie Willis, the prosecutor investigating efforts by Donald Trump to challenge the 2020 election, says her team heard credible allegations that serious crimes have been committed and some individuals might see jail time. Again, I hope that is the case. We'll see. We'll see as that investigation in Georgia progresses. I would certainly like to see what results that yields, if any. The platform is whatever 45 wants. True. Truthfully, a January 6th and FBI scandal have damaged Trump at least 33% of the U.S. Maybe. But his core base is his core base, right? And the Dems are funding MAGA candidates in the primaries. Yeah, and one of them won. Yes, and one of them won. Ooh, excuse me. And one of them won. How can you call a jury that somehow insulated themselves against any knowledge of the shitty, awful things going on in the world as a, quote, peer? I don't know. I'm pretty sure, like, Alio is correct. They're going to try to argue, that there's no way, like, they could get a, free, a fair, like, jury or whatever. when you have no good evidence, then you attack the process itself. So I'm gonna assume that Alio is correct. And there, if like in a hypothetical scenario where Trump actually gets indicted and convicted, so the trial, it goes to trial and it goes through the process and he gets convicted, I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to argue that it's not about knowledge, it's about being impartial. Yep. And they denied it too, which is quite bad. They covered the funding thing on a podcast with a few poli-sci I listened to, and they brushed it off little, which I felt extremely naive. The Democrats knew exactly what they were doing with that funding, and to be honest, the alternative argument of them not knowing is probably worse because it tells it that they're electorally clueless. Yep, asleep at the wheel, nowhere to be found. Yeah. So like the idea that you'd be even entertaining this is ridiculous. Like, why would you fund these people on the premise that they'll be easier to beat? Yeah, well, dude, what if they win? Have you thought about that? What if they win? Absolute clown logic by the Democratic Party. Absolute clown logic by the Democratic Party there. Yeah, perfect example. Let's see if we can push, Donald Trump in the primaries because he's going to be the easiest one to beat. Absolute freaking clown logic. Absolute clown logic. All right. A lot of these oranges are going to win because of inflation. You think so? I don't know if that's like... It might it will have, I think, an impact, but I don't know. It's so hard to tell that right now at this point in time, Michael Hassler, because like, if you were to ask me this question, maybe like towards the beginning of the year or maybe towards the end of 21, or I should say maybe if you were to ask me this question at the beginning of the year, I would say we're pretty effed, right? The Democrats are, and there's video of me saying that they're gonna just get freaking completely destroyed, completely wiped out from the House and the Senate. But now with the whole like dynamics that are at play here, it's basically a coin flip. It's basically a coin flip. The latest story of Lindsey Graham trying to twist the rhetoric of Roe v. Wade into the Republicans being the moderate is, I hate to say it, quite savvy. And if you're giving energy to these people that they will use in a way that's smarter than you intend to, then you're setting a dangerous scene. Yep. But I think really, I honestly think that Lindsey Graham just shot themselves in the foot, just shot the Republican Party in the foot. People vote pocketbook issues first, maybe, but I don't know. That's not always 100% the case. Even if they convened a jury, wouldn't Trump try to threaten or manipulate the jury almost immediately? Wouldn't that be an instant conviction since it's being directly observed by the court? That would be another separate thing. Maybe. I don't know. Trump probably wants a millionaire on any jury. Yeah, but he doesn't pick the jury. Well, he can try. But I don't know if being a millionaire has anything to do with anything. Lindsey is not that savvy, worships Trump after doing all that. Yeah, I think Lindsey Graham's statements, especially like tripling down, it's going to hurt them. I think the traditional literature on election cycles and salient issues would say that inflation is a guaranteed loser for an incumbent, but abortion changes the game so much. Yes, that's exactly. Abortion changes the game so much. People haven't really paid attention to how abortion Seon's impact orders, and we're about to see how much it can do. Women in particular are moved by these things and are one of the rare demographics known to switch when major partisan alignments change on the subject. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That factor there is going to be huge. And so far, I still think that it's going to end up being some type of coin flip because of this issue, which we will get into in just a second. All right, so we talked. We made like a statement about the railroad strike. Business hails tentative. Biden hails tentative deal to avert rail strike as business urge freight workers to get to back it. The White House struck a tentative deal on Thursday to avoid a rail strike that risked major disruptions across the United States, with freight workers securing a key demand. The agreement between major freight rail operators and two large unions, the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen and the Smart Transportation Division, highlights the labor movement's growing influence under an administration that casts itself as a staunch ally of labor. Their tentative pact drew a collective sigh of relief from the business groups that had warned a stoppage would cause crippling economic damage. This agreement is a big win for America, President Joe Biden said on Thursday at the White House, thanking negotiators for unions and the rail carriers after what he said were 20 hours of marathon talks ahead of the looming Friday deadline. For the president and fellow Democrats, the deal offered a measure of political relief after fears that the economic fallout from a strike could further squeeze households hit by stubbornly high inflation. This is a win for tens of thousands of rail workers and their dignity, adding the deal would boost rail operators' ability to hire and retain workers and called the carriers a vital backbone of the economy. Joseph Hinrichs, the incoming CEO of a rail company, CSX, said the employees are deserving of these raises that they're getting. Yeah, but if that's the case, then why did you have to go through all of this to just end up giving them raises anyways? And that wasn't the issue to begin with. The issue was the conditions and the scheduling and all that. Yeah. Any jury that they will pick will be heavily skewed towards the prosecution because Trump can only hire more on liars now. To be honest, the U.S. economy is not doing fantastic, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was predicted 6 months ago. True. That may be the case. Glutinous machina. That may be the case, but I'm more interested in keeping Republicans from power. At this point, I think that they're incredibly they're just too dangerous. I'd rather set the stage where a legitimate left party can mount a fight against the Democratic Party, versus having a Republican Party here at play. I mean, all the major voting demographics broadly vote in a unique way because they're all activated by collective issue salience as well as individual ones. Once again, when the abortion policies start to evolve in decades past, there were studies that showed women shifted at a much higher rate than men. Democracy for Realists in 2016. And it's not just about pay time off. They literally don't have regular days off. They're just on call for weeks at a time and fired for calling in sick. Right. It's not about the money or whatever. It's the conditions and the scheduling. Correct. Maple Leaf Dragon with 100 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. They've been through the pandemic and all the work they've done for us, said Heinrichs, who is not directly involved in the talks. Pandemic pressures, including those that scrambled supply chains, worked in freight workers' favor. Railroad employees felt like they have a strong hand to play now, and they're playing it, said Zach Rogers, assistant professor of operations and supply chain management at Colorado State University. They have worked to the bone for the last 2 years trying to deal with COVID and its aftershocks. He said, adding that the general public has never been more aware of the importance of the supply chain, just as some long-standing bottlenecks show sign of easing. A rail strike would dent many industries, as about 40% of goods are shipped through long distance rely on the nation's rail system. Agriculture, automotive, chemical, packaging, and industrial parts would take the biggest hits, according to Glenn Koke, general manager of network collaboration at the supply chain management at platform for kites. Even though a strike has been forestalled, Kopke said that shippers looking for contingency plans are already driving up demand for trucking. Rates will spike through the end of the week and have been as high as 25%, but will return to stable levels next week. On Thursday, a broad range of industry groups applauded the tentative deal and urged its approval. The Biden administration's efforts to avoid a strike will help keep ingredients, inputs, commodities, and finished products moving. The Consumer Brand Association, which represents major grocery staples, in a statement, trade organizations from everything from baked goods to chemicals and even sneakers welcomed the agreement. Yes, because that's... Yeah, okay. If the deal is not completed in full, American Apparel and Footwear Association said in a statement that 25% of apparel and footwear that typically touches the rail lines would immediately get stuck and threatened by busy fall shopping season. After canceling long-distance routes preemptively, Amtrak said Thursday it was reaching out to impacted customers to accommodate on first available departures. Midwest commuter rail carrier Metra said that trains were set to be canceled by BNSF, and Union Pacific would now run as scheduled on Thursday evening. The pact next goes to a vote among the members of the BLET and the SMART TD, the nation's two largest freight unions, which represent 57,000 conductors and engineers who staff most trains in two-person teams. Under the term of the deals, employees will for the first time be able to take unpaid time off work for routine preventative medical care, union leaders said in a statement. Jesus, the bare minimum. There will also be exceptions from attendance policies for hospitalization, surgical procedures, and workers will gain an additional paid personal day each year without fear of discipline. Nice. At the same time, several unions in the UK transportation halted their planned strikes because of the effing Queen. Wow. Wow. That's some weak sauce shit. Before Wednesday's marathon talks, rail operators had already agreed to go to a compensation change, including 24% compound wage increase over the deal's 5-year term and an annual lump sum bonus payment totaling $5,000. But a key sticking point remained the attendance policies that workers said making taking planned time off nearly impossible. Right, that was the whole crux of the thing. Rail workers are often on call 24/7 year-round and allotted time off only after being called to a number of consecutive on-call shifts. Unplanned issues like doctor's appointments have sometimes put workers on disciplinary paths, which can lead to dismissal. A labor union source told NBC News that getting rail carriers to negotiate on attendance policies was a major breakthrough. BLET and SMART TD hailed the tentative deal in a joint statement. On Thursday, the solidarity shown by members, essential workers to this economy who keep America's freight trains moving, made the difference in our unions obtaining agreement provisions that exceeded the recommendations of federal mediators earlier this summer. If rank-and-file union members vote down the plan, it won't take effect and they could find themselves back in negotiations. The agreement includes a cooling-off period of several weeks to ensure that no immediate rail shutdown would occur if a vote fails. Correct. It's the companies. Radkin. Correct. It's the companies. BLET and SMART TD had said that quality of life concerns, chiefly carrier scheduling practices that leave many workers on call 24/7 every week of the year, were a major obstacle to an agreement and one they were willing to strike over. Yeah, no kidding. Railroads have cut their labor forces in recent years, running trains with even fewer personnel and exacerbating the burden on workers, while company profit margins have risen significantly. Yeah, and then you can't, surprise Pikachu face when, they threaten to strike. No, you know what? Cosmic Seeking, after seeing people get arrested for, doing anti-monarchist protests, I'm staunchly anti-monarchist. 100%. Fuck the monarchy. I don't need to understand how it works. I understand the history of it, and that's enough for me. It's what's being left out of the conversations. I've seen most other articles and news shows. Yep. Like, are you okay with people just being like dragged out for putting signs for having like free speech? Like, just answer me that really quickly. Because like I don't think you understand just how like pro-democracy I am and just how anti-authoritarian I am. Because I could clearly give less than a shit about a monarch, a king, a queen. I don't care. So explain to me, is it okay for people being dragged away for having anti-monarchy signs? Is that okay? The new king has no real power. He has a network of billion already. Yeah, which, by the way, he conveniently isn't going to get taxed on. The people were not arrested for free speech. Yeah, they absolutely were. They were being dragged away because they had anti-monarchy signs. And the premise of disturbing the peace doesn't quite do it for me. So yeah, no, it's just not an acceptable way of acting especially with someone who is so into democracy. To see that, it doesn't fly with me. It doesn't fly with me. Sorry. Fuck the monarchy. Monarchy shouldn't exist in 2022. They were taken away for their own good. For what? What did they do? Can you explain to me? Explain it to me like I'm 5. They were taken away from their own good. Disturbing the peace with some anti-monarchy sign? It doesn't fly with me. Nope. The most tragic one was the guy was arrested for having a blank sign. Explain that one to me, because none of that makes sense. Yeah, it's very simple. Fuck the monarchy. It shouldn't exist in 2022. Period. How about that one? That's even worse. So you can't express an opinion because then you would get beat up? You can't express an opinion because then you would be beat up? You can't express an opinion because someone might get offended enough to enact violence. That's not an excuse. The UK needs to figure out if they want a king or queen. Yeah, if they if they want to have a monarchy, that is up to the people of the United Kingdom. That is not anything to do with what I'm saying. I'm saying, from someone who believes in democratic systems, I think that a monarchy is completely useless and unnecessary in 2022. Our royals have support like Trump. That doesn't excuse the violence. We wouldn't say the same thing. We wouldn't say the same thing if people are holding signs, anti-Trump signs, right? And they get removed for just having an opinion. That is not okay under the threat of violence. Because then they would get beat up. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. That makes me even more staunchly against any anything to do with the monarchy. Yeah. I want to disagree. I don't give a shit. A king is a king is a king. There shouldn't be kings in 2022. In 2022, there should be no such thing as a king. Why would you even want a king? Why would you want a king? You're saying that pro-monarchy supporters are basically the UK MAGA, no control over themselves and unable to function in a free speech society. Right. That's infinitely, like, that's not a good excuse. I'm not talking about American presidents. I'm talking about the concept of a monarchy. Why is that even a thing? Like, you cross a line when you start arresting people or removing people because of things like that. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Gluttonous. You would be the generous king. Yes, I'm sorry. You know you're right. I'm pretty sure you could do things without. You can do tourist attractions without the monarchy. I'm pretty sure you can manage it. You'll be fine. I promise. If the monarchy disappeared tomorrow, it wouldn't affect your life in any way, shape, or form. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. If tomorrow the monarchy disappeared, you would be fine. I guarantee it. You would be fine. I would be amenable to electing a daddy for life, but only the leather bear community would be allowed to vote. Yeah, there you go. Even Americans love our monarchy? Which ones? Which ones? Anyways, in 2022, there should be no justifiable reason to have a monarchy. It's just cringe. And at this point, watching like those videos of people getting like dragged out and people getting arrested is enough for me. I don't care if she was the most famous person in the world. That doesn't mean anything to me. That literally does not mean it's a single thing to me. The Queen has never done anything for me. All right? The Queen and any single king or queen or monarch or whatever the hell you want to call them has never done anything for me. America was founded on giving the English monarchy the finger. True. So I don't know, like, where, you know, Americans... yeah. Anyways, the arrested people or de-arresting the police who did it were admonished. It doesn't matter. It still happened. Expressing an opinion should never invite the force of the state to come and remove you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? The fact that it happened does not make it good. It doesn't matter if they were admonished. Great. It happened because some people decided to express an opinion. Do you see how dangerous that is? This is my problem. I'm not making this up and I'm not exaggerating this. Arrest of UK anti-royal protesters raise free speech concerns. British police have come in for criticism from their activists and civil liberty groups over their treatment of anti-monarchy protesters. Yeah, that's a problem, my dude. You try to walk down the street with the I Hate Trump banner, I bet you would get the same result. Yeah, and it's bad. That doesn't... Wait, you're making my argument for me. That is bad. I still think that it is perfectly within consistent logic to say the exact same thing. That's bad. That's why I don't like it. That's why beating up people or threats of violence, just like Trump did, and just like if I have an anti-Trump sentiment, and I walk down the street with an anti-Trump sign, and I get removed from the police, that's not a good thing. Okay, the same thing would apply if I walk down the street with a "I hate Trump" banner, and then I get threatened with violence. That is not a good thing. Okay, that is not a good thing. That is not something to be proud about. That is not something that is okay in a democratic society, in a free society. That should not be happening. I want to be able to say whatever the fuck I want to say. If I want to say fuck Trump, then I want to say that. If I want to say fuck Joe Biden, I can say that. There are the least protests like signs. It's almost funny looking someone like wrote their art class during the recess. Yeah, like if I want to, my point is that if I want to make criticisms of structures and systems of power and the people who are at top of those things, then I should be able to do that without the threat of being beat up, without the threat of the police state coming down on me. In an ideal world, you could shout or have a sign saying whatever you like, but you know you can't do that. Yeah, I can. I live in America, dude. Hell yeah. Right. I'm not talking about physical threats of violence. No, wait, that's the whole thing. I'm advocating the exact opposite. I'm advocating not violence. Signs are fine? Yeah. Well, they got arrested for having signs. In an ideal world, yeah, I can. Obviously, I'm not talking about like being able to just tout around the freaking swastikas and whatnot. That's true. Free speech does not mean free from consequences. That's true. That's true. Which makes my point. Alex Jones. Yep. Yeah, Alex Jones said things. They had consequences. But he's not going to be arrested for them. That's right, he wasn't arrested or criminally charged. That's my point. I don't want the freaking police state to come down and then like have the ability to silence people because they have anti like state or anti system critiques. That's my point. That's my point. No, hold on. What Trump did has nothing to do with free speech, my dude. That has nothing to do with like free speech. What Trump did was obviously pointing in the direction of some alleged criminal activity. That's not protected. Calling out obscene things in public is an offense. It depends. Like a criminal offense, it depends. Are you trying to like calling like are you saying things that are, you know, causing violence? I don't know. Are you saying things that are illegal? I don't know. I don't know what that means. personally, like that guy that got arrested for heckling, is literally like at the bottom of like, is literally at the bottom of like the list of my worries, right? That's not exactly, right, he just heckled a funeral, correct. I still don't think, like... Obscene meaning things that offend the majority? If things offend you, it is not the same as making criminal acts. Okay? I think you should have been escorted out, but not in jail. Yeah, sure. Maybe I might have been I might be okay with like somebody being escorted out, but like, man, dude, to have people holding signs like this.
It's free speech! Let her go!
Just confirm, you're not going to give me your details.
Just for, I was holding up a blank sign. Why are you asking for my details?
You said you're going to write stuff on it that may offend people.
I said I was going to write
around
"Not
the
My
king."
King"
Okay.
on a sign.
Yeah, like, dude was gonna write "Not My King" and being interrogated by police. Cool. My point was, some people treat it like Stalinism because dude heckled a funeral and got pulled out by the cops. It's gonna happen. It's not. Yeah, I don't know about arresting him though. How about people saying absolute lies in public? I don't care if he wrote it under good advice. "Not My King" isn't like a statement of truth or not. I don't care if he wrote it under good or bad advice. What does that have to do with anything? If I write "Not My King" and I'm holding this sign up, I'm literally doing absolutely nothing. Okay? I'm literally doing absolutely nothing, and there should be no reason why a police person should remove me from the premise. Yeah, if they incite violence, that is criminal. But if I just write "F the King," what's the problem there? Nah, F the Queen is fine. F the Queen is fine. Death to the monarchy is fine. F the monarchs is fine. As long as you're not, like, literally, threatening somebody or threatening violence, I think it's fine. Right, even the US has peace disturbance laws. Correct. That is true. But, yeah, and I would condemn the same thing. If there are people, waving signs that say, like, "F Joe Biden," as he's riding around, in a caravan or whatever, and there are cops like removing those people, I would be against it. If there are people with F Joe Biden signs, F the president, waving signs, while he's doing like a caravan thing, that's perfectly okay. All right, just to be clear. This is getting clownish. I'm done trying to explain to you why it's entirely appropriate to be publicly expressing anti-monarchy views at the Queen's procession when people's cancer points are being cancelled. Yep. Right, because that's a direct call to violence, Cosmic Seeking. Does that make sense? What does that have to do with the funeral procession? Because literally the country is like shut down. Most of the country is shut down. From what I understand, that's the reason why they're making that statement. Anyways, we're getting way off the topic. That's not right if essential services are not running. Hold on. Yeah, the entire country is shutting down. That's the whole point. I think that's what they were trying to make as a point. Yeah, so I think this is what they're trying to talk about here. Look. While the Queen, blah, 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 observed, thousands of people faced canceled doctor's appointment, closed food banks, and shut supermarkets. Many patients have been left frustrated after being told that the NHS appointments they waited for months to secure were suddenly canceled. For patients who may have been waiting for up to 2 years for elective surgery appointments, if they were canceled on the 19th, this will be incredibly distressing. As frontline NHS staff are left wondering if the decision makers in government really understand how their decisions play out on the ground. Britain's state-run NHS is already facing its worst staffing crisis and more than 6 million people on the waiting list for hospital treatment. It handles on average 880,000 general practice appointments each day, according to Reuters' calculation from 6 months. They're also concerned about NHS resources needed to rebook appointments and doctors having to make childcare arrangements at such a short notice. The issue here is really the short notice. We can always organize around planned holidays. If you think about people who are waiting for cancer diagnosis or chemotherapy, it's really difficult to know how they're going to proceed. This is what they're talking about. I don't think it's not just yelling at a coffin. It's like this whole thing was unnecessary. This whole thing was unnecessary. Never mind the bullshit that's going to cost hundreds of millions. Yeah, exactly. I think you're talking past each other. Both of you. I think you're talking past each other. The point is, this whole thing is bullshit. You're talking past each other. This whole thing is bullshit. Okay? This whole thing is bullshit. There should be no reason why any of this should have happened to begin with. Okay? There's no reason to make all of this, like, literally most, like, countries' services being shut down for this. There was no reason for that. There's no reason why people need to be removed for expressing an opinion. It doesn't matter if it's at a funeral procession, right? Like, it doesn't matter. That's not my, that has nothing to do with it. My point is, this entire thing is bullshit. Monarchy shouldn't exist in 2022. That's my point. Yes, sure. I agree, but it doesn't matter. Cosmic Seeking. Great, excellent. So all this was bullshit. Why does the monarchy exist? And yeah, it's not that this decree was made by the Queen. That's not the point. That was never the point. You guys are talking past each other. Are just walking tourists. I don't think it's just that. And furthermore, like, clearly, they literally shut down the entire country. Because of the monarchy, not that the monarchy itself mandated this. If there was no monarchy, none of this would have been necessary. Does that make sense? parliament mandated because it's their tourist exhibit expired. Yeah, but they didn't need to do that. It was because of the monarchy. So it shouldn't exist. That's my point. It shouldn't exist. Yes, COVID, because that's a pandemic. You can't really control that. But you know what you can do? Not have a monarchy. You can't control a pandemic, okay? You can't really you can't really control a pandemic. There's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about that. My point is that conscious decisions were made because of this archaic, unnecessary unnecessary structure. What would the US do if Biden dropped down dead? They would immediately appoint the vice president, and the whole country wouldn't really shut down. Guaranteed it. I don't think the entire country would shut down. I don't believe the entire country would shut down when any of our presidents have died. We don't shut down the country. And certainly, I hope, in the United States, there wouldn't be police removing people with anti-Biden banners or anti-Biden signs if you were to pass away, right? I would certainly hope that that wouldn't be the case. You know there would be, and I would be right there condemning it too. If I saw a news article about like people posting like anti-Biden, holding anti-Biden signs as Biden's funeral procession would go by, then I would be condemning it just the same. Just to be clear. No, your country literally shut. I just read it. Wait. I just read it, dude. There's an article that I even posted in the chat. Fox News would be running wall-to-wall coverage on why the new president means the end of the world. True. That's what Fox News would be talking about. So would I be outraged by the anti-Biden poster? Why? Why would you be outraged by someone expressing an opinion? Even if it's something that you don't agree with. Does that make sense? Why would you be mad that somebody's saying anti-Biden stuff at a hypothetical Biden funeral scenario? It's not wrong. It's what you can say that. These are okay things to do. Whoa, my God. Jesus Christ. These are perfectly fine things to do. You don't think that I would be you don't think that I would be fine? It's not obscene at all. The U.S. is line of succession. Yeah. That's true. I would agree it's in poor taste, but people are allowed to be rude. Yeah, sure. Exactly. Exactly. I hope we don't get President Harris. True. Oh, man. Do not come. True. Yeah, like why would I get mad, or why would I be like angry if people are like doing like holding up anti-Biden stuff at a hypothetical Biden funeral scenario. Why would I do that? I don't think so. She's not as popular as Gavin Newsom. All right, we're getting way off track. If Joe Brandon, yeah. If we get a new VP, then yes. It looks like Gavin Newsom. You think Gavin Newsom would run? Yeah, and I would criticize that. You're describing the exact same scenario as what's happening over there. Being removed and being arrested for holding up signs. Being interrogated for the police for holding up signs. Yeah, you're describing what happens over there. And I would agree, and I would criticize that too. If DeSantis, which he has made anti-protest legislation. And I condemn that too. I 100% condemn that. Why would I change my mind on that? Newsom would run in a heartbeat? Oh, you mean like if there was a scenario where that happened? Maybe. I don't even know if he plans to run this time around. I don't know if he plans to run on this time around. It's early. It's still too early. It's all guess based on viable candidates. Yeah. Unfortunately, like the Democratic roster isn't really that impressive. I'm gonna be honest. The Democratic roster isn't that impressive, and what's worrying me is that they might actually try to run Joe Biden again. He paid for commercials to run on Fox News in Florida during his gubernatorial race. He's going to run. You think so? No, I don't think they're going to go with Pete. They're not going to... Is he going to run? So do we all over here and over there? None of us are free to do what we like? I think we should be to certain extents. Obviously. I don't think that was ever my argument. I don't think I ever said that ever. He's throwing down the gauntlet to DeSantis. DeSantis, Newsom, election. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. It's like fantasy football. Jesus Christ, that's not the way I want to. That's not the way I want to like consider that. I've literally never argued against the point of like having parameters. I've never made the argument that there shouldn't be any type of like parameters. They should just be as democratic as possible. That's it. That's my argument. The U.S. Constitution guarantees free speech and peaceful assembly. Yes, and that is a good thing. The ability to criticize power structures and the ability to criticize your government and power structures, whether you think, whatever you may think, is crucial. The ability to criticize power structures is incredibly important and sacred. That's my point. Oh yeah, 100%. I agree, Rai. I agree. My thing is that if I see something that is crossing that line where you have like an authoritarian kind of possibility of somebody, of the police state essentially coming in and removing you for signs, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. But I've never argued against it. That would be a straw man. I never argued against. I never made an argument against that. Nope, not even. Don't care about those either. Those are completely fine. Unless those signs are like obviously violating the law, like trying to incite violence or something like that, like literally, like we have T-shirts made here, saying things like "F Joe Biden" and stuff like that. Does that really No, I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't think it's at a public event. It's like a shock value shit. I would say the exact same thing. If someone wears like an F Joe Biden shirt in public, that doesn't bother me. Who decides what is bad? Who is bad and what to do with them? Well, I mean, we have democratic methods of doing this, right? That's what one would hope, right? That's what one would hope. Anywho, it's almost 7 o'clock. We've got so much things to go through. Yeah, and I think that's wrong because if I wear a pro Biden shirt, big old dark Brandon shirt, right? In support of Joe Biden, and somebody threatens to hurt me because of that, that's wrong. There's been actual reports on Putin rejecting Ukraine's deal and staying out of NATO. Russian convoys outright said Putin never intended to have a peace deal. It wouldn't surprise me. Just walk into a MAGA rally with an F Trump shirt? Yeah. And guess what would happen? They would threaten violence, which has happened before in Trump rallies. And you know what? That's wrong and that's authoritarian. I don't like it. I already said that. I already made that statement. And boys, yes. That's my argument. Anyways, we're getting way too off track here. I still have plenty of articles to finish, and we've gotten nowhere near. Railroad strike. Railroad have cut their labor forces. Yeah, no surprise Pikachu face when you do this and stress workers to the brink, they threaten to strike. Prior to the war, Ukraine peace deal promised to stay out of NATO, and Putin rejected it. Yeah, I don't think there was a scenario where Putin wasn't intending on doing the invasion, right? I mean, it's pretty clear. I think that it was going to happen. Meaning it was going to happen regardless. It's the police getting burned for arresting these people. Sure, that's good. But it happened. It should have happened in the first place. Not surprised. No, he's not meaning literally. He's talking about figuratively. Like, you know, people roasted them publicly. Nothing to do with, like, literal burning. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It happened already. Like, it happened. The problem is that it happened. That's the issue. Correct. Public backlash is warranted. Not downplaying that. I'm saying that it shouldn't have happened to begin with. That's all I'm saying. The two biggest freight rail companies saw record profits in 2021. BNSF had a net income of $6 billion, and the Union Pacific hit $6.5 billion. CSX achieved a record low operating ratio, a key industry measure that gauges the share of revenue eaten by expenses like labor for the third quarter. Norfolk Southern Railway announced a record low operating ratio for 2021. Earlier this summer, the Biden administration temporarily forestalled a strike after convening a 3-person board to study the issue and freeze talks. The president has championed workers' rights throughout his first 2 years in the White House, including by forming a task force to protect employees' rights and moving to undo Trump-era rollbacks of labor protections. Unions have strongly supported Biden, despite some lamenting he was unable to deliver on key promises last year. All right. Speaking of domestic terrorism, yeah, that headline, yeah, it happened. They even threatened FBI agents, so one is not really out of character. Yep. Yep. Armed Trump lover. I love the framing of this article. No, he was a Trump supporter. He was a staunch Trump supporter. Arrested at a Dairy Queen, wanting to kill all Democrats. This is not an exaggeration. This is literally what he wanted to do. So when Trump says things like, we need to fight like hell, we need to save our country from, the evil Democrats or whatever, this is the kind of stochastic terrorism. This is the kind of results that stochastic terrorism has right here. A man claiming he sought to restore Trump to President King of the United States would kill all Democrats to do so, and was arrested at a Pennsylvania Dairy Queen after entering the establishment armed with a gun and a clown headdress. That's right. Trump has been grooming these people since 2016. Fight like hell. Save your country. We want the strong people. Maybe towards the end, because we've got so much to cover that I don't know how much I can do. A cute animal video. Let me finish through all of these because we have so many. We're not even close. We need to move. Maybe at the end. And this is true. Wearing a rainbow wig like a clown, was going to restore Trump as President King of the US and was going to kill all Democrats to do so, and liberals, of course. 11 biddies. Thank you so much, Halio.
And it's fortunate no one was hurt. Delmont police say this all started as a 911 call for an erratic driver along State Route 66. Police say the caller reported seeing a man wearing a safety vest and rainbow clown wig get out of his vehicle.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't even care about this. I care about the actual reporting. Yeah, but I have seen this guy come up a lot. But yeah, I'm interested in the reporting.
With a gun in his hand before walking into this Dairy Queen. Delmont police say an officer was nearby and responded immediately and met the man as he was coming out of the store, taking him into custody without incident. Police say the man had a loaded .40 caliber handgun in his pocket. A search also found 2 more loaded handguns in his vehicle. When police asked him about the weapons, police tell us, the man said he was, quote, undercover and working to restore Trump as President King of the United States. Police say he also said he was armed to kill Democrats and liberals and protect himself from drug traffickers. The owner of the Dairy Queen declined to comment on the incident. The Delmont police chief tells us he believes his officer prevented a possible mass casualty type situation. Police did file charges, but they have not identified the suspect.
Yeah. According to an affidavit obtained by WTAJ, blah, blah, blah. I can't even pronounce. Oh, this is the domestic terrorist. Okay. Placing 120 on the counter and telling the manager it was a tip for non-Democrats. Police were later alerted to an erratic driver and reached the Dairy Queen after domestic terrorists returned to the location. Police found additional weapons in this domestic terrorist vehicle. This domestic terrorist was dressed in what witnesses say a rainbow clown wig and a bright yellow safety vest, attempting to convince police officers that he was undercover, working on a major drug sting. Yeah. Okay, buddy. I appreciate that, Alio. I've seen some media, some Midas Touch clips are better, far better than Gravel Institute. They're dead to me for pushing Russian propaganda. I have not watched the Gravel Institute in a while. From my understanding, the Gravel Institute was supposed to be a response to PragerU. But yeah. According to this affidavit, domestic terrorists went on to claim that he was a prophet who had talked to God and needed to kill all the Democrats because Trump was still president. Yeah. And just riddle me this, chat. Where do you think he got that idea that Trump was still president? Yeah, MAGA, QAnon, but who specifically, riddle me this, chat, who has been specifically, repeatedly, talked about how he's never lost an election, how he continues to dispute the results without a shred of credible evidence, who continues to talk about how this election was stolen from him. He actually won. He's actually president. It was all a cheat. We won both times. That's right. Yeah. Stochastic terrorism, folks. It's a thing. According to KDA, the domestic terrorist was expelled from 2 different churches due to his erratic behavior, was advised to seek both professional treatment for his mental health. No one was injured in the encounter, and police arrested the domestic terrorist, who is now in custody awaiting arraignment. This domestic terrorist is one of several recent examples of Trump supporters turning to violence or threatening violence. Days after the FBI raid, a gunman who had posted pro-Trump content on social media tried to break into the Cincinnati incident. this past Sunday, a Michigan man, I didn't even know about this, devoted to QAnon, the QAnon conspiracy, which holds Trump is combating a deep state of, whatever, cabal of satanic nonsense, shot and killed his wife. Oh, yeah, we did go over this. I'm sorry. Yeah, we did go over this. I mean... Yep, sarcastic messaging seriously can turn people with mental illness into active shooters. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yep, there's a QAnon. Yep, we talked about him. That was the Michigan story. It was another one? I thought it was this guy who shot and killed his wife, the dog, and the daughter. The daughter survived, though. Send that to me. Send that to me. The point is, this isn't going to stop, folks. And these people are incredibly dangerous. And they're being fueled, incited, and by these conspiracy theories by Donald Trump. I don't think that's an exaggeration. California dad killed his kids over QAnon and serpent DNA conspiracy theories. Jesus Christ. This happened last year. Okay. Who is a follower of QAnon and Illuminati conspiracies, who thought his children were going to grow into monsters, so he had to kill them. Dude was charged with foreign murder of U.S. nationals in connection with the death of his 2-year-old son, his 10-month-old daughter. Jesus Christ. He told FBI he uses spearfishing. Oh my God. Yeah. This is your brain on QAnon, folks. Again, a complete conspiracy theory. So these threats made on FBI agents and judges. Simple. No, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. These domestic terrorists are to be taken seriously, and this is not going away anytime soon. Even that Boston bomb threat on a transgender clinic. Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. No, it's not a joke. Not a joke at all. So now that I've properly primed you guys to kind of have like that mindset, right? Let's talk about this, huh? Right. It's not just that, right? Oh yeah, here it comes. Now listen, you were primed to be in that mindset as to like what the problems are of stochastic terrorism and like how all of this connects, and I think now this is appropriate to just give you a little right out of nowhere, Bub Dragon, just right. Nah, it's not just out of nowhere. It makes sense. Trust me.
This If riddle me this. If MAGA extremists are so dangerous,
No, please, go on. Go on, Russell. Please tell us.
why have the Democratic Party spent $53 million funding their candidates?
So because the Democratic Party funded them, they must not really be that big of a deal. So that's okay. Listen, guys, there's nothing to worry about here. All right? Never mind, because that is a completely separate criticism, right? That is an entirely separate criticism to levy on the Democratic Party, because it's ridiculous that the Democratic Party is giving them money because they think that they're going to be easier to beat, which they have no idea whether or not they'll win an election, right? You have to kind of go through that process first. So why would you fund it on the premise of, like, I don't know, this is just ridiculous. The idea that the Democratic Party has done this is absolutely ridiculous, and it's just some clown logic on their part. That doesn't downplay. That doesn't mean that these people are harmless. This is completely fallacious thinking to say that, because the implication of these 13 seconds are like, oh yeah, well, you know, if MAGA was so dangerous, then why were the Democrats funding them? Who says Democratic Party cares and just focuses on political strategizing? This is just pure terrorism. Yep. Which I think is absolutely clown logic on the Democratic Party side. To think that, oh yeah, we're just going to throw these people money because it'll be easier to beat. Absolutely ridiculous line of thinking, in my opinion.
Hello there, you 5.9 million awakening wonders. Thank you for joining me on this voyage towards
Jesus
truth.
Christ.
Hare Krishna.
Not a cult, by the way. Not a cult.
Assalamu alaikum.
Not
Hallelujah.
a cult. Not a cult.
Secular greetings to you all. I love you, I welcome you.
Not a
Isn't
cult.
it hard to be alive in this crazy world? Isn't it difficult to deal with your personal pain and social complexity at this time of crumbling illusions? Whether it's in my country, the United Kingdom, where we're confronted with the nature of power in a monarchical system, or your country, the United States of America, where you are confronted with the ghoulish and ridiculous spectacle of Joe Biden conducting an oddly fascist Star Wars rally backlit in red
yes.
with stormtroopers.
With stormtroopers. It's Marines in formal uniform. Stormtroopers, folks. By the way, they never showed this, but like the people who are like so ass mad about like this No, I understand, right? They're boosting it because in their eyes, they're going to they think that they think that there's going to be an easier candidate to beat, but that's not always a guarantee. I think that like Oh, yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, Russell Brand didn't even look into this. Of course he didn't. He doesn't even read the studies that he cites. Yeah, the truth is less nefarious than it is embarrassing. Dem leadership is just awful at strategy and grossly mismanaging their funds, as always. Yeah. This is ridiculous. I think that it's not because they want this to happen. It's because, like, dude, they think that in their mind, somehow they've had this idea that giving money to these people are going to make them, you know, win in the primaries, which makes them more beatable in the general. But that's not always a sound plan. I'm disputing the logic behind it. And also, why would you give money to these people? Like, even if it's on that premise to boost the worst candidate, This happened. This happened in 2016 to Trump. They thought that that was going to be the easiest one. This is not a good strategy, and quite frankly, it's dangerous. They're playing with fire. At the at the small price of the rest of the fucking country. So ridiculous. And yeah, fascist speech. We're only 57 seconds in, but is Russell Brand gonna tell us, like, can Russell Brand tell us what was fascistic about the speech? Because all these people, all these conservatives, Russell Brand clearly is touting water for the right. That's just his spiel now, right? He's literally doing the right-wing memes constantly. So is he going to explain to us what was fascistic about the speech? Is he gonna go and show us clips of the speech and explain, how that's fascistic? There's 300 photos of Trump making political speeches with the exact same soldiers. Yeah, they're just Marines. They're just Marines in formal uniform. That's it. Stormtroopers. Like, obviously, like, this dude is just has to put that language in there. Yeah, it's a nothing burger, 100%.
This is new fist-pumping Joe Biden, by the way, a man who could shake himself into, well, not an early grave. It's already a bit late, let's face it, but to shake himself into a grave.
We beat Farmer this year!
Whilst condemning Make America Great Again candidates and mentality.
Yes. Yes, you should condemn Make America Great candidates and mentality, because the ideology is fucking dangerous. How many more of these stories do you need? Yeah, to think that this guy used to be a silly left-leaning dude. But at the end of the day, they just end up carrying water for the right wing. Jimmy Dore included. He just ends up carrying water for the right wing, and sure enough, ends up on Tucker Carlson. Sure enough, I can't wait for Russell Brand's appearance on Tucker Carlson too. I mean, it's the same thing. It's a Tulsi Gabbard thing. Even if it's just like cynical for like money and whatnot, yeah, they end up helping the right wing. And at the end of the day, you know what? I then have to doubt whether they ever believed in these things, because if they so easily caved, right? If they so easily caved to that, then I wonder, were they ever principled to begin with? Were they ever even like left-wing to begin with, or was that just convenient up until a certain point, right? And that's scary, is the true believers want to be taken seriously, so the more people don't, yeah, that's right, then the more they will escalate. Yeah, I agree, they're worse than those true believers. They're literally boosting these awful trends. Agreed. And like, Russell Brand actually kind of skirts under the radar for the most part, I think. I don't see a lot of people covering Russell Brand. Save for like one or two people. I think Alio has mentioned like one or two people that cover him. But like, a lot of people don't. So when I see shit like that, and I'm sorry that, like, we have to go through this as a community, but like, nobody's pushing back on this garbage. Nobody's pushing back on this garbage. It's the same way as JP Spears falls under the radar and he's an extreme anti-vaxxer. God, that guy makes me cringe. That guy makes me cringe.
While the Democrat Party continues to fund MAGA candidates. What does that mean? What does that mean about the integrity of the Democrat Party, the integrity of American politics more broadly? And
yeah, okay, but these are fair questions. But to then say like, oh, well, that means that the MAGA movement isn't like dangerous is nonsense. You should read out the titles of his videos. It is a great laugh on a drama queen. Yeah, the title of his videos is "You've got to be effing kidding me."
And does it give you any hope that there's anyone out there that's fighting for you, for your rights, for your family, for you as an individual, for your community? Forget your individual and collective, personal and political.
I don't care. Like, that's the thing. You like, Russell Brand is expecting, like, what? That these people are going to be our saving grace? You shouldn't expect the political party, just because they're Democrats, to automatically come and save you. You shouldn't expect that. You obviously, you work with the tools that you have, but this idea that, like, oh, just because the Democrats win or just because the candidate has a D next to them makes them automatically good is just weird. And I don't think, I hope that people don't think that way on a I know some people do, but, like, I don't think that's the sentiment. I don't think that's a sentiment. No, I mean, about a dozen video titles. It's really fun. Maybe I'll do that on my own time, because his titles are ridiculous. He games the algorithm, and you can tell he's not an innocent, useful idiot. He's a effing deliberate actor. Yeah.
Political views, the system doesn't care about anything, it seems. It's a bundle of self-sustaining hypocrisy.
Be honest with each other.
Yes, we must be honest with each other.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Russell, are you going to substantiate the claim that Joe Biden's speech was, like, fascistic? Or are we just going to skirt that one, conveniently and not play clips of the actual speech showing us where... I'm still waiting for that claim to be substantiated. But, whatever.
Let's start there. As primary season comes to a close, Democrats have spent more than...
Oh, wait. Hold on. Let's take a 5-second to notice that his source is the fucking New York Post, my dude. It is dishonest. It's the whole point. It's the Ben Shapiro thing, right? Where, like, literally Ben Shapiro talked for like 10 minutes and we still didn't figure out how the student debt forgiveness was theft. We never got that answer. That question was never answered. I wasted 9 minutes that I will never get back. And I'm less smart because of watching Ben Shapiro for 9 minutes. And I never got the answer to the question.
$53 million to boost far-right Republican primary candidates in 9 key states as part of a controversial election strategy.
Right, that's it. It's an election strategy, which I disagree with, because, hey, if these people end up winning, yeah, it's a threat.
By publicly screaming about the threat posed to the US by such would-be office holders.
Yes.
Now, even if you take this in the most optimistic way, and this is it as far as I can see, let me know in the comments below if you can think of a more optimistic one. The Democrats believe really sincerely in their policies and their ideology. They believe they must be in power in order to save America.
That's literally not what this is about. This is about winning elections, my dude.
And therefore funding far-right candidates in order to create a worse perception of the Republican Party. And
no. I mean, yes, but it's to win elections, dude. And it's not to portray these people as worse. They are worse. They do that by themselves. They don't need help. Have you heard these people talk? They don't need help.
Or beat them is the best thing to do. But while I find myself trying to unpack and unravel that ridiculous web, I find myself thinking, surely it's easier and better to just genuinely, transparently, and overtly represent the public. In some races, Democrats have spent more than 30 times what the GOP candidates were able to scrape together.
Yes, that is true. But here's the thing, like, notice how, like, a lot of his videos, he'll never levy these criticisms about the Republican Party, and they're infinitely more dangerous. I just read the most insane story. There's this woman that killed a rapist and faces 5 years of probation, and now she has to pay $150K to the family. Yep. The insane part is that people fundraised $320K for her case, nullifying this BS case, and that's so great. I saw that. It's ridiculous that, like, a rape survivor, you know, who did what she had to do to freaking, you know, to protect herself, rightfully so, and had to go to court to pay $150K to the family. Jesus. Yeah, I'm glad that people like rallied behind her. Right? The $320K is for her, right? Is that what you're saying? For her case. Okay, yeah, for her case. Yeah, I'm glad people rallied behind her, because that's just wild to me. And she also got the sweet $150K for her trouble, so justice, nice, based. Cool.
Themselves, according to Washington Post analysis. We only spent 30 times what the actual parties spent. 30!
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
I'll give you an example of not normal. Funding what you call far-right MAGA candidates.
But they are.
In order to alter the perception of the Republican Party.
But they are.
Giving this
But they are. What? This is them.
Wacky, weird speech.
But they are.
While continually engaging in dishonest rhetoric that lacks authenticity and integrity.
What does that mean?
Whatever this is.
Wait. What does that mean? Can you give us an example? Are we going to get an example of how this works?
This isn't what politics should be.
No?
This cannot be the vision of the Founding Fathers. And I bet the vision of the Founding Fathers has problems when it comes to the complexity of an evolving society.
What? Why are we pointing to the Founding Fathers? What? What? Who gives a shit?
And changing perceptions around race and people's rights and, like, you know, abolition. Let's take one bloody example. But even with all those caveats, do you think that they ever imagined, let's get away from this married monarchy in Britain, and then let's just set up a thing where we fund the bad candidates in the other party? It's just become a mad joke.
This is completely incoherent. This is completely incoherent. What? What does that have to do? What is talking about the... What? This is completely incoherent. What does talking about getting away from the monarchy have to do with this? There's been a special master appointed to the Trump secret paper case. Oh shoot, we gotta. Well, I'll see if I can run through this.
It's a spectacle. It's an illusion. That's why this visual image is so informative. Because there's nothing real about it. And certainly, I don't think you can condemn anyone for anything when the best you're offering them are show trials, spectacles, empty rhetoric, and forgetful handshakes and an inability to make your way gently down a staircase.
Wait, what sham trials? Hold on, wait, we're just gonna skip past that? Whoa.
It's an illusion. That's why this visual image is so informative. Because there's nothing real about it. And certainly, I don't think you can condemn anyone for anything when the best you're offering them around race and people's rights and, like, you know, abolition. Let's take one bloody example. But even with all those caveats, do you think that they ever imagined, let's get away from this married monarchy in Britain, and then let's just set up a thing where we fund the bad candidates in the other party? It's just become a mad joke. It's a spectacle. It's an illusion. That's why this visual image is so informative.
What visual
because
image?
There's nothing real about it. And certainly, I don't think you can condemn anyone for anything when the best you're offering them are show trials, spectacles.
What show trials? What are you telling me that the show trial, like what? Like the investigations that are going on into Donald Trump right now? Oh, the hearings. Oh, the January 6th hearings. The January 6th hearings where we continue to get testimony after testimony, emails, communications, texts, phone calls, witnesses, under oath. Under oath. Ah, yes, those are show trials. Gotcha. Ah, okay, no, this all makes a lot of sense, right? MAGA people call them show trials, literally use that phrase. Ah, yeah, like I said, he's just carrying water for the right. That's it. That's his only job. That's it. He's like, that's it. That's literally his only job, is to essentially carry water for the right wing, and then kind of soften the blow as more extreme, as the right gets more and more extreme, more openly extreme. He's there to kind of ease you into it. That's his job.
Empty rhetoric and forgetful handshakes
What?
and an
Empty
inability to
rhetoric?
make your way gently down a staircase.
Ad hominem attack? What does this have to do with anything?
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism
Yes.
that threatens the very foundations
Yes.
of our republic.
Yes. What part of that was a lie? What part of that was a lie? Literally, MAGA ideology, MAGA Republicans, absolutely present a threat to democracy. These people have outwardly talked about it. This isn't like a made-up thing. This isn't an over-exaggerated statement. They literally do not believe in democracy. If I had a nickel each time January 6th was called a child, not understanding a hearing is not a child. True.
I think we're in such an extremist state, and what I mean by extremist is there's nobody in the entire political sphere that's speaking for ordinary people in a way that can be implemented. I know there are voices within probably both parties, populist voices on the right and progressive
No such thing. Populist voices on the right just end up being fascist.
voices on the left. But in terms of these are the policies that are going to make your life as a person that was affected by the 2008 crash easier. We can see what's continuing to happen.
What does this have to
State is
do?
getting more and more ability to regulate. Corporations are getting wealthier and wealthier. There's been a wealth transfer during the time of the pandemic.
Great. What does it have to do with Joe Biden's speech? Wait. How did... What? What is this non sequitur?
No one's meaningfully regulating Big Pharma. It was revealed that the price caps Biden's introducing will not affect the pharmaceutical industry. Everything is about appearance and spectacle. Nothing is about integrity, authenticity, meaningful change, empowerment of ordinary people.
Yeah, generic truisms that mean nothing or have nothing to do with the subject. Very good stuff. Corporations are going to get rich. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, we all know this. Yes, exactly right.
That the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Yes. What part of that was a lie? That's true. That's 100% true. What part of that was a lie? Was that like an objectionable statement? Anybody in chat? Is that like an objectionable statement?
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans,
Yes.
everybody. Down, 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 like it's NSYNC or something.
What?
Like,
No.
It's been said, hasn't it, before?
No, this is downplaying. Do you guys see how he's like trying to like mock that idea? Do you see how he's trying to downplay and mock that idea that like how it's ridiculous to think that like the MAGA movement and the MAGA Republicans could pose like a threat to democracy? He's literally mocking that idea when it's 100% true. It's not something that we made up, right? It's not something that like the leftists made up. It's literally their own words. It's their words. Yeah, he's doing a Demi Jor. There we go.
The Democrat Party's best weapon is the divisiveness of a figure like Trump, and now Trump isn't at the forefront of American political life, although some say he might stand in 2024 if the FBI investigations ultimately permit that. The fear of a kind of demonic Republican Party is valuable for galvanizing and mobilizing the traditional Democrat core. So instead of what you could do, and what I imagine would be a sensible thing to do, creating a political movement that says, look, if you're a blue-collar American, no matter what race you're from, we're going to make America better for you by taxing corporations a lot more, creating fairer systems in a variety of ways, looking for ways to implement the principles that this country was founded upon, which is individual and community freedom and acceptance of diversity, whether that diversity means a very traditional traditional background or a very progressive outlook, we're going to find ways of accommodating that. We're certainly
That's
not going
right.
to just operate at the behest
that's correct,
of
Bri.
big corporations the world over and use the mainstream media as a funnel for those views and prevent you having it. There are things you can do, but what they are doing is funding extreme, inverted commas extreme, candidates within the
No,
Republican.
they are extreme. What you see, he's like continuously downplaying this. They aren't extreme. No, they are extremists.
Party, so that they've got patsy opponents that they can straw man knock over on the
It's
way
not
to
a straw man if it's true, my dude.
technical victories. No ideology there. There isn't meant to be, we're here to serve the people of America. What's the best thing we can do for the American people? Where the fuck is that dream gone? Facing an unfavourable midterm environment, Democratic campaign organisations have propped up fringe candidates in California, Colorado,
They're
Illinois,
not fringe candidates. It is the Republican Party.
Maryland, Michigan, Nevada, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania and Virginia.
Yes, which is all the more reason why I criticize the Democratic Party of funding them. Why would you do that if you know that these people fundamentally do not believe in the electoral process and like, you know, threaten to not recognize elections? Why would you give these people money, and why would you try to prop them up because they might be easier to beat? What if they win?
But otherwise okay? Betting that their chosen contender will be easier to beat in
That's it.
November.
That's literally
Most
it.
of the money has been used to fund TV commercials aimed at Republican voters that often tout the candidate's hardline anti-abortion views and support for former President Donald Trump's claim that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from him by a voter
Jesus.
fraud. Dividing people at a time when every sensible person talks about ways of bringing people together is unconscionable, I think. Making the situation seem worse, stoking fear. There's no doubt there's racism, there's no doubt there's bigotry. Don't make it worse, make it better.
What? What is this argument? What is this argument?
Work to create a society where people say, look, you're different from one another, but can you leave one another alone? Can we find ways of loving one another? Can you accept that within one single family, you're going to find people with all sorts of different ways of...
What if, and hear me out now, those extremists do not accept that? What if those extremists are authoritarian fucks who do not believe in that? What if those extremists just want to implement a theocratic authoritarian state?
Being human? Can we get beyond this and actually start focusing on what the real problem is? Centralized establishment, elite power that does not afford real democracy to ordinary people. No, we can't focus on that because otherwise it would fuck up our gig. In all, Democratic campaigns or outside groups have interfered in 13 primary races across
Yep,
the 9
that's
states.
right.
In at least 7 of those nominating battles, Democrats have outspent their preferred candidate. So the Democrats are spending more money on the Republican Party than the Republican Party. So when I say things to you like these two parties are the same, they support one another,
They're
it
not.
doesn't make any difference. Here's a quite concrete example of that. Joe Biden on a stage as if he's giving out medals to Chewbacca and Princess...
Wait, and again, what does this all have to do with Joe Biden's speech? I'm still confused. Holy shit, somebody make it make sense, please.
Leia. Meanwhile, his own party is funding the very thing that he's condemning as the biggest problem in the country. That's like finding out that Darth Vader was being funded by Princess Leia. Don't tell me that's true, because I'm not ready. Who's behind that mask? A fucking Ewok? Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee Chairman Sean Patrick Maloney insisted last month that the organisation had been doing our job by meddling in Republican primaries. What kind of job is that, though?
Yeah, but the problem we're having here is not just making your opponent look like, you know, off their rocker. The problem is what if they win? Why would you even do that? Like, I understand the strategy. I'm just saying it is fun. It is well misplaced, and I think it's ridiculous. And it kind of fuels the people like him. It's not something I would play with, to be honest. Yeah, I know, but this is different though. Like, you're talking about, I wouldn't either, but that's Democrats. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's my fundamental criticism. Is that it's like you're hedging people, you're hedging your bets against people who fundamentally are incompatible with democracy, and if they win, we're all fucked. So, it's out of touch, yes. Among other things, yes.
What does that mean? Let's turn to someone that will guide us and help us. The Vice President. Not the most powerful person in the country. We've seen that guy. I've given up on him. Let's move now to the second most powerful person. Vice President Kamala Harris.
Is the Democratic Party making a mistake here by those people could win if you're not careful?
I mean, listen, I'm not going to tell people how to run their campaigns. I ran in terms of statewide office.
Would you have done this? Would you have done this? Is this something you'd be comfortable
I'm not going to tell people how to run their campaigns, Chuck.
Wow, that's a professional politician that won't condemn a practice that is at best ridiculous and at worst nullifying the entire point of the democracy that she purports to be a part of.
And I know that it is best to let a candidate, along with their advisors.
It's not like toddlers having a fight and you don't know how to intervene. Well, just let these campaigns and these Congress people solve their own. They're not children. This is meant to be a political system that's about integrity and faith. You should read some of the things that are written behind them when they're campaigning, like from the Constitution. They should read some of the pledges. They should read the things that are on police badges. Protection and service and values and God bless America. What does any of it mean if this is the reality? Can we extract ourselves from this parasite mind we've been invited to participate in and see the truth of our political systems? Is it possible for us to awaken? Is it possible for us to truly imagine new systems, new versions of ourselves, new versions of the United Kingdom, new versions of America? Or are we all just too drained and weary now?
Let them make the decision based on what they believe is in the best interest of their state.
It's not in the best interest of their state. It's in the best interest of the Democrat Party and the Democratic Party's ongoing relationships with lobbyists and corporate funders. That's what it is.
As opposed to the Republican Party? Yeah, it's vacant hyperbole. Yeah, like, there was nothing said here.
You know that by now. You told us. You have helped educate us about your political systems. You've helped us to understand better what's going on in America
slogans,
and the degree of corruption that's prevalent and presented as normal, not even embarrassing and shameful. It's possible for Joe Biden to stand there, backlit like the emperor, and say that...
Without understanding that, like, it's not just like this. They're so focused on this red thing. Are they just mad because it's red? Like, are they just angry because the color red makes them angry? What is the problem here? And furthermore, if like you actually take like the image, it isn't just red, dude. It was red and blue. It was red and blue. It's British Jesus? No. Online style wins over substance. That's why I don't give a shit about the marketplace of ideas. Oh, you don't like Rave Dubin? Yeah, it wasn't just red. People are like, the only thing that they focus on is like, oh yeah, I use just, this red background with the stormtroopers, which are just Marines. in formal uniform, but like, no, wasn't just like that. Is this his video about the Queen? I thought it was really good. I don't know what he did about the Queen. Russell Brand is a freaking clown. I love Dave Dave Rubens. He's a leopard eating his face that keeps on giving. I just wish he would stop, honestly.
Fascism's a bad thing. Fascism, by his own definition, that he and his party are funding. If that's not a hypocritical system, I don't know what is. And maybe I don't know what is. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Give this video a thumbs up.
No.
Turn on.
No. Dave Rubin is a case of token abuse. Yep. Of course, Russell Brand is a clown. He's a comedian after all, and he's also a hippie. Yeah, but that's not even the problem with Russell Brand. That's not even the problem. The problem is that he's effective. He's effective at look, almost freaking 6 million subs. Incredibly effective at propagating right-wing bullshit and, worst of all, softening this idea for the extreme right and making it more palatable, mocking the idea, calling Joe Biden's speech fascistic without giving an example. I bet he has like 300 tags on one vid just to get that sweet view count up. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. He's in it for what helps wealthy people. Yeah, at the end of the day, like that's what. Sure, that's his interest. But like, what makes me more angry and frustrated is that he like kind of softens. He kind of makes it soft. He makes far right ideas and far right people soft and palatable by making comments and making a mockery of like, you know, things like, oh well, you know, MAGA isn't really that big of a deal. He's making a mockery of it and softening this idea. Softening fascistic elements to, you know, be acceptable. Nog Wrangler, how's it going? His business model is at fault for that. He basically goes with everything his comments and emails spam him with. Yep. Yeah, and all of it just happens to, you know, carry water for the right. That's all. Big quinkity. Big quinkity there. Alright. Speaking of clowns. Yeah, there you go. He's a fascist lubricator. There you go. That's going to be my new favorite term, all right? That's going to be my new favorite term. Rubio's embracing Graham's federal abortion ban. The Florida Dems see an opening. So this idea that like, oh, a federal abortion ban isn't like a thing. That, the Republican Party would never back that. Right? Republican Florida Senator Mark Rubio is co-sponsoring a bill that would ban abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy nationwide, giving critics another opening to attack him again ahead of the November election, an issue that has energized Democrats. Rubio's move to sign on to Lindsey Graham's bill is the strongest indication yet that Republican incumbents appear unconvinced that Representative Val Deming's constant pounding of him over the issue is going to harm his bid for a third term. It just comes weeks after her campaign launched an ad called Rubio's Stance on Abortion Outrageous, because it is. It absolutely is. I've always been pro-life. You need to be asking Democrats what restrictions they support. Democrats won't vote for any restrictions of any kind on abortion. I don't know if that's true. That seems like a straw man. His decision to tie himself to a federal ban comes as he's also trying to draw attention to Deming's stance on abortion. His re-election campaign launched a new flurry of television ads that contend that Deming supports abortion up to birth, which obviously is a straw man that doesn't even, that first of all, that's not even her position, and second of all, it's ridiculous to say that like you support abortion up until birth. That's not abortion, dude. That's not how that works. Usually, if you're, that's such a amazing picture. Anyways, the only reason, generally speaking, like as a rule, first of all, abortions and late-term abortions are incredibly rare, and to add to that, the only reason you would have a late-term abortion is because, there's some kind of complications that have made made it so that you have no other choice. Why? Because if you're already in late term, why would you have an abortion? It's clear that you want the child, right? For the most part, I think that follows the logic, right? Usually, the reason why you would have a late-term abortion is because some medical emergency has come up that leaves you no choice, which is why that procedure is available and why it should be, why you should have access to it, right? Democrats nationally have viewed the Supreme Court ruling overturning federal abortion protections enshrined in Roe v. Wade as a catalyst to reignite supporters, a position reinforced by a recent referendum in Kansas where voters in the conservative state kept in place current abortion rights. Some Democrats have also overperformed in a few House special elections since a high court decision signaling to the party that abortion in some races can help mobilize voters. Yes, and now, will that be enough? I don't know. In Florida, however, Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried tried to make it a centerpiece of her Democratic primary for governor by questioning the record of rival Charlie Christie, who beat her by nearly 25 points. A recent poll commissioned by AARP and a team done by Democratic and Republican pollsters found that Rubio had a narrow edge over Demings, 49% to 47. That lead, however, widened 5 points among voters of 50 or older, a key demographic in Florida. That same poll also found that 11% considered abortion the most important issue deciding their Senate vote, while 15% said it was inflation and rising prices. Yeah, so some, hey, howdy from Italy. What's going on? It's America. If Florida man has proven anything, you can't assume people to be logical. Not even pregnant women. Nothing wrong with banning third trimester abortions unless the mother's life is in danger, just in case, in my honest opinion. I mean, but like usually you wouldn't. I mean, like it's really rare. I don't see why the point being. I got no problem with abortions, but after that you can basically take the fetus out and grow it under a heat lamp. Yeah, which at that point, like, I mean, come on. It's an indication that you pretty much, like, want the child, right? And, like, the whole point of Roe v. Wade was to provide access to that service, and now we're here. Now we're here proposing, like, basically as close to a federal abortion ban as possible, which is the end game. Graham's bill was not universally embraced by Republicans, only because they don't have the spine to come out and say what they want. Only because they have no spine and are cowards and don't want to say what they actually want to do, simply because it's not popular. In Italy, we're having problems with abortions as well. 87% of doctors refuse to perform them. In some towns, you have Jesus. With the fascist government on the horizon, stuff is going to get much worse. I do think that, I don't know how it is in Italy, but here, yeah, it's, sheesh, it's not fun. Some of whom have contended abortion restrictions should be left to the state legislators to decide. Rubio himself told a Miami television station just a few weeks ago that I think it's an issue better decided at the state level at this point. Right, because it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. These people are liars and will play coy up until the point where that switch is flipped. In a tweet, Rubio also said that restricting abortions So the first 4 months is more lenient than virtually any country in Europe. I don't really care. You're not a senator in Europe, my dude. You're a senator here. Why would you even compare? Earlier this year, Florida enacted a ban on abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, but unlike Graham's bill, it does not provide exceptions for rape or incest because, Republicans pretty in favor of that. The legislation, however, would allow states to enact stricter restrictions. Rubio's public support for the federal legislation all but ensures abortion will remain a top issue in Florida Senate races. Demings have defended abortion rights and constantly called out Rubio's anti-abortion stance during the campaign appearance. Democrats ramped up their criticism of Rubio after he told CBS Miami that he was in favor of a total ban on all abortions with no exceptions for rape or incest or human trafficking. That's because they're in favor of all this. I blame the US for the rise of fascism in part for one because they set a very bad example in recent years, and two because of the effing unregulated Twitter and Facebook spreading the brain rot. Listen, I tend to somewhat agree in the sense that, like, yeah, it's true, Twitter and all that is a catalyst or helped. Yeah, we have an even less progressive party than the Democrats. I don't know if I would consider the Democratic Party like a progressive party. The Democratic Party is has some progressive elements. Like, there are some progressive candidates in the Democratic Party, but I don't think that that's like the norm, right? I don't think that that's like the Democratic Party, right? But yeah, if you have a less progressive party than the Dems, sorry. I don't know what Gladio is. No idea what Gladio is. No idea. I'm in favor of laws that protect human life. No, you don't. I don't believe in the dignity and the worth of human life aside to the circumstances of their conception, but I recognize that's not a majority position. But you advocate for it because like a tacit admission that this isn't even popular. This isn't even what the people want. Rubio then added that he would support laws that included exceptions in order to get them passed, but he also said during the interview it was appropriate for states to implement restrictions, not the federal government. But you support that. Yeah, everything these people say is like a flat out lie. That's where it always should have been. That's where it is now, and I think that's where it will be for a foreseeable future. We don't have the votes now or anytime in the future. Yeah, but if you do, you absolutely would. So don't lie, you spineless coward. Don't lie. Guaranteed, if these people win the House and the Senate, they already have the Supreme Court, and they end up winning the presidency. Best believes this kind of stuff is going to come up. Why? Because you think that a simple filibuster is going to stop them? No. A filibuster isn't going to stop them. They're just going to carve out exceptions like they've done in the past to get whatever it is that they want rammed through. They don't care. And if they win the House, the Senate, and in 2024 they should win the presidency as well, these kind of things will just happen. And yeah, it was a secret protocol created to suppress any socialist movement in Europe by any means, and even coup governments in case of democratic victory. In my country, Gladio was also sponsored terrorist attacks and almost coups. Oh, I'm not aware of that. But I'm not aware of that, but it's not the first time I've heard things like this. Demings on Wednesday slammed Rubio's decision to support the effort to pass a federal ban and said she would push to codify abortion rights that were in place before the Supreme Court struck them down. This is just the next step in Marco Rubio's fight to ban abortion with no exceptions for victims of rape and incest and sexual abuse. As a 27-year-old law enforcement officer who investigated cases of rape and incest, I'm appalled and disgusted. Rape is a crime, incest is a crime, abortion is not. Yep, her campaign also snapped back at Rubio's ad. Christian Slater, a spokesperson for Demings, called it a repeatedly debunked lie designed to distract his endorsement on extreme abortion bans. The Rubio campaign has defended this ad by pointing to Demings voting in favor of a House that would codify Roe v. Wade. Yeah, which is fine. The latest version of the bill that says the states can limit abortion after viability, but a healthcare provider can proceed if the pregnancy would pose a risk to the pregnant patient's life or health. That's right. So, yeah. Oh, I should have prefaced it with this. Ah, man, I messed up. I messed the order up. Ever wonder why Italy never had a Nuremberg, a Tokyo trial? Where do you think all the fascists of higher up go? Secret services and Gladio and terrorist groups and the police force. Well, like I said, it's not the first time I've heard of things like this. I've just never heard of Gladio. The first abortion ban passed after Roe takes effect on Thursday today in Indiana. The first new abortion ban passed by state legislature is set to affect Thursday in Indiana. Indiana lawmakers passed this legislation banning most abortions in a special session early in August. It includes narrow exceptions for rape, incest, and certain serious medical complications and emergencies. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb, a Republican, issued a statement soon after lawmakers approved this bill, saying he was signing it into law as part of a promise he made to support legislation that made progress in protecting life. Holcomb said that, this is a misnomer. They don't give a shit about life. The law includes carefully negotiated exceptions to address some of the unthinkable circumstances a woman or unborn child might face. Carefully negotiated exceptions like, rape and incest. Can you imagine if that's if that's considered, quote, carefully negotiated exceptions? Jesus freaking Christ. What's the best city to live in the U.S.? No idea, my friend. I just live in a small place. I don't know, wherever there is, I don't know, this is just me, but I just live in a small place. Reproductive rights groups, including the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, and others, are challenging Indiana's law in state court after hearing that a hearing that in that case is set for September 19th, 4 days after the law's effective date. For now, the abortion providers in the state will not be able to offer the procedure in most situations. And I think that's pretty much... And I think that's pretty much the gist, right? We've got, these conservative Republicans continue to essentially restrict bodily autonomy. They are consistently lying. They're putting down the groundwork so that when they do have the power, they can and they will do a federal ban. They can and they will implement a theocratic authoritarian state. Lindsey Graham, the only mistake Lindsey Graham did was say it too early. Really quickly, the mosquito fire, which has been tearing through the Sierra Nevada foothills, became California's largest blaze of the year on Wednesday. The fire formed on September 6th and has been moving east through dry, hilly terrain northeast of Sacramento, the state capital. It made an unexpected surge on Tuesday, damaging or destroying some buildings. By Wednesday evening, it had grown to more than 63,000 acres, making it California's largest of the 2022 season, said Kevin Tidwell, the public information officer on the mosquito fire. It was 20% contained as of Wednesday night. Cooler temperatures and higher humidity expected over the next few days are likely to help firefighting crews, and light southwesterly winds could steer flames and smoke away from nearby communities. Still, he added, those same winds could also give the fire fresh oxygen and push it farther east into dry forests of Lake Tahoe that are loaded with potential kindling. It's still those critically dry fuels that are the issue. Several evacuation orders and warnings are in effect on Wednesday for Placer and El Dorado counties. Mr. Tidwell said that while firefighting crews have made progress lately on the fire's northern, western, and southern flanks, the area was not yet safe enough for any of the more 11,000 residents who had been evacuated to return to their homes. California's next largest active blaze, the McKinney Fire, became the state's largest fire of the year in late July. As of Wednesday, it was just over 60,000 acres and 99% contained. Jesus Christ. So needless to say, the point of this is to continue to illustrate that this is what we're seeing now. These are the effects of climate change, without a doubt. And we're going to continue to see this if we don't address this problem. This is going to be the new norm. The idea that this is some ephemeral thing that's going to happen later is ludicrous. We are experiencing these catastrophic adverse weather events constantly now in 2022, not in 5 years, not in 10, not in 100. We're looking at these catastrophic adverse weather events now. This is the reality for 11,000 people. A fire that's 63 has grown to more than 63,000 acres. On the back of another fire that's 60,000, just over 60,000 acres. And just to be clear, this isn't just here in the US. All these adverse weather events, from massive flooding to wildfires to droughts to little rivers being completely drained in France, is not just here. It's across the world. Oh, it's all good. I'm just not knowledgeable enough to even make comments. That's the issue. Anyways, the point being is that this isn't going to get better. This isn't going to get better, and continuing on as business as usual, we'll make sure that the worst elements of climate change will come to fruition. Right now, as it is, a lot of these bad, a lot of these bad catastrophic events are locked in. A lot of them. Should we cross over certain thresholds, like that's it. The domino begins to fall, and there's nothing to stop that. Even if we were to just Thanos snap all emissions right now. Even if we were to just Thanos snap all emissions. All right, we got one more. Billionaire boss gives fashion firm a way to fight climate change. Yvon Chouinard said any profit not reinvested in running the business would go to fighting climate change. The label has amassed a cult following due to sustainability moves, like guaranteeing its clothes for life and offering reasonably priced repairs. It's famously for an ad titled, "Don't buy this jacket," asking shoppers to consider the cost of the environment. The brand's website now states Earth is our only shareholder. I think like the thing to get from this is like, man, we don't need to like rely on this, right? Because like, what if this dude didn't decide that? We shouldn't rely on charity and the goodwill of billionaires to carry climate change on the back, right? A rock climbing fanatic stated, blah, 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 blah. His net worth is $1.2 billion. But he's always shied away from his wealth status, telling the New York Times he's horrified to be seen as a billionaire. But you are. Like, why would you be horrified to be seen as a billionaire if you didn't think it was a good thing? And if so, right? Jesus. He claims that the profits being donated to climate causes will amount to about $100 million a year, depending on the health of the company. Despite its immensity, Earth's resources are not finite, and it's clear we've exceeded the limits, the entrepreneur said, of his decision to give up ownership. Not only that, like, now that I've, like, basically extracted all that I could, now I'm going to make that decision. Cool. Nice. Thanks, dude. The firm's marketing campaigns focused on asking people to buy only what they need have not dampened sales, and critics have argued that by raising its prominence, it's encouraged more people to encourage more spending rather than less. Prices are relatively high for jumpers, example costing about $200, and t-shirts about $40, but the company argues that the costs reflect the fact that the clothes are meant to last a lifetime. Patagonia's chairman acknowledged a higher, Charles Kahn acknowledged a higher price, but said cheap cheap fast fashion was an anathema to the brand. We invest in making sure we use the least water, the least dangerous chemistries and dyes, and the least carbon in the production of our products, which often means they cost a little bit more. Sandra Halliday, the UK editor for Fashion Network, a global fashion news website, told BBC Mr. Chenard's move could ironically end up boosting its sales further. However, saying that the Maverick founder has always been more committed to the environment than simply making money. But he's a billionaire, though. If it was simply a marketing ploy, it would be an inspired one, but it's not. It's actually a genuine move to try to do something better for the planet after you extracted everything that you basically needed. Nice. So the TLDR, if you want to read this article, it's basically that we shouldn't rely on charity and we shouldn't rely on philanthropism. That's just going to get us killed. That's going to get this planet destroyed further. All right, we did it, folks. Folks, we made it. We got through all of it. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. Join us Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us on Sundays around noon Eastern Time for Sunday Fun Day with the co-host. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. You get 5 free emotes. And if you have a moment, join the YouTubes. Hit the subscribe button. Spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics. Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to keep up with the channel, join the Discord. It really does help us out. As always, folks, I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the biddies, all the follows. Thank you guys so much. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you so much for all your support. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya.